back stitch is one of the most important embroidery stitches to know, and today I'm going to give you 5 tips to help make your back stitch better. Welcome to Epida Studio. My name is Elizabeth and I help you make beautiful things with quilting, pajagi, and embroidery. So back stitch is one of the most foundational embroidery stitches. It's often the first stitch people learn, and for good reason. It's really versatile. It's used in both surface embroidery and in counted thread embroidery, and it can be used all by itself for a lot of different designs. So if you're only going to pick one embroidery stitch to use, then I recommend back stitch. And it's not fancy or flashy, it's just sturdy and reliable. But even though back stitch is simple to do, it's sometimes tricky to get it in a perfectly smooth line. So if you're having trouble getting your back stitches to make a nice smooth line like you want in your embroidery, then these tips are going to help. Now, just before I get to the tips, 2 things I want to say is, first of all, you might find your own tricks that help you. So this isn't an exhaustive list. And also, nothing will replace practice. If your stitches are wonky and they're not exactly how you want, just keep practicing, and over time they will get better. So let's get started stitching some back stitch. Now the first line I'm going to stitch is just going to be a reference demo line, and I'm going to be using 3 strands of embroidery floss. So I have embroidery floss and I'm just going to pull it apart like that. So I have now 3 strands. So I'm just stitching this as a reference line, but I'm not purposely going to do anything to make it look bad. And I'm just doing regular back stitch. So the way back stitch works is you have your thread and then you stitch back and bring your needle forward. So you're always going back behind where your thread is and then bringing it forward. So here's my first line of back stitch, and this stitch doesn't look bad. It's perfectly fine, but I think there's some little tiny things we can do to improve it. So let's try some of those and see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do to try and improve my back stitch is, instead of doing a sewing or a scooping method like in my last row, I'm going to do what I call stabbing method. And that's where I bring the needle all the way through and then bring it all the way through to the back. So my needle's going all the way through to the back and the front, instead of being pulled through like that. And this will help because I'm bringing the needle through perfectly straight and perpendicular to the fabric, instead of at an angle that sometimes happens when you're doing the sewing method. So there's my next line of back stitch. It's done with stabbing instead of sewing or scooping. And that can help eliminate some of the little gaps that you sometimes get in between spaces, because as I said, your needle's going through straight and not at an angle. It can help you be more exact and accurate in where you want to stitch. The second thing that I'm going to do to improve my stitches is something that, to be fair, I always do when I'm stitching with embroidery floss. And if you saw me start my thread the first time, you probably wondered what in the world I was doing, but I'm going to separate my strands of embroidery floss. Now I have my 3 strands here, and I got these by pulling apart the 6 strands. But because I just pulled them together, they are kind of a little bit twisted and not even evenly twisted. So what I like to do is pull them apart. So I pull out one, I'm going to pull out the second one, and I have my third one. And then once I have my 3 strands, I'm going to lay them together. And this time when I have them, all the strands are laying parallel to each other. So it's flatter, it's more similar to a ribbon instead of a rope. Now, if you are trying to get a nice round thread like the effect of a rope, then I would recommend you use pearl cotton instead of embroidery floss because it has a consistent twist. With embroidery floss, you'll have sometimes they're twisted together, sometimes they're flat, and it's very inconsistent. But by doing this, you're gonna have flat threads, and then your strands of thread that you're using, they're gonna be laying together more parallel, and then that will help give it a smoother line. So when I am taking my stitches, I'm going to be trying to keep my strands of thread as 3 parallel threads laying beside each other. And I'm just using my fingers in this case, but this is where sometimes a laying tool will help if it's really difficult. But I find with backstitch, usually my fingers are just fine. So there's the third line of stitching, and you can see it's a subtle difference, but it does help your line look smoother when your threads are running parallel instead of a little twisted, and sometimes they're parallel and sometimes they're not. It will just help the flow of the overall line. Now the next tip I have is actually 2 tips, but for some reason everybody says use odd numbers in your list. So I lumped these together, so I had 5 things instead of 6, but they do go together. This is keep your stitch size consistent and plan ahead. So keeping your stitch size consistent is kind of obvious. It's just like it sounds. You want your stitches to be the same size or very close in size, and that will help your line be more smooth. If you have big stitches and then some small and then big and then super tiny, then that it's a bit jarring to the line, and keeping them consistent and uniform will help it be smoother. But the other part of that is to plan ahead. So here's my row of back stitches that I'm stitching, and I'm trying to keep the size consistent. And as I'm coming up toward the end of the line, I want to evaluate how much space I have left and how many stitches that's going to be. So I can estimate in this space, it's going to be about 4 stitches. So I will keep that in mind as I'm getting close to the end. I can keep trying to estimate where my stitches are going to go. Now, if there was a situation where I just could not fit it in, and I knew that I couldn't get stitches that are the same size in that spot, then what I would want to do, if I'm going to have one stitch that's a little bit smaller or a little bit longer than the other ones, I want to bury that in the middle somewhere. So I could put a short one here and then have 2 other longer ones, or put a longer one here. By putting it in the middle of the row instead of at the end of the row, it won't be as noticeable. But in this situation, I think I can get 3 more stitches in the row, and they're all going to be similar size to the other ones. Now, planning ahead is also really important if you have a curve in the row, because sometimes we can be stitching along and it's easy to be consistent when you have a straight line. But if you have a curve in the row, in a curve, you're going to want to have shorter stitches because it'll get a smoother curve. So if you plan that, then you would know to do these stitches shorter so that they can all be the same size even when you move into the curve. So take into account the length of your line and the shape of your line as you are planning. So there's what my fourth line looks like. I've tried to make my stitch size as consistent as possible, and I planned ahead so that they can stay consistent and fit within the line that I have. Now, the next tip that I have is something that is super technical, and if you are a beginner, then you probably don't want to pay any attention to this, and I give you full permission to just ignore it. But if you're an embroiderer with lots of experience and you're just trying to get your backstitch to be that little bit better, then this is something that you might want to think about. And this has to do with paying attention to the back of the stitches as well as the front of the stitches. And I'm kind of on the fence with how neat should the back of your stitching be. I think some people take it too far when they're saying the back should be as neat as the front, and other people take it too far saying it doesn't matter at all what the back looks like. It can be full of knots and loose threads and it can be a big hot mess. I think a neat back on your embroidery will help the front look neater, but you don't need to be paranoid and perfectionist about it. But this is a situation where paying attention to the back can have an impact, however minute, on your stitches on the front. So when we do back stitch, our thread comes up and then we take it back and then we take it ahead. Now when I'm going back into this hole, on the reverse side of my fabric, I have threads there because I've carried it from the back to ahead. So this little loop of thread is there. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about this loop of thread and I'm going to try and hold it out of the way with my finger so that I'm not piercing the thread, but it's going to be beside my needle. So in these other rows, I didn't pay attention to that. There's lots of times when my needle came right through the threads and potentially pierced threads or separated them. But on this row, I'm going to try to keep them together. And there's a couple ways I can do that. So the first way is just what I did. When I'm stitching, I'm going to use my finger to just hold it down a little bit. And then when my needle's through, then I can let go and pull that through. The other way is, while I still have a lot of thread on the back, I can put my needle to the back. And now I can pull. So this is doing the same thing, just a little bit different way. And now I can pull it through. So I bring my needle up to the front and then I put it in where it's going to go even before I've pulled these threads through. So now I'm pulling the thread up to the front and the threads are all going beside the needle. So either of those ways will do. I'm just sliding with my finger on the back. So that's what that line looks like. And you can see the differences between them are very, very subtle. You almost have to have a magnifying glass to see the difference, but this one is more smooth and consistent than the first one. Now, the last tip I have is a tip that is perfect for beginners or anyone who is struggling. They want to get a smooth line and they just can't get it. There's gaps between their spaces or they're weird angles. They can't get it straight. And then this is something that can make even a wonky backstitch line look really good. And that is wrapping your stitches. And to do that, I'm going to go back to my top sample line and I'm going to wrap those stitches and you can see what a difference it makes. Now to wrap my stitches, I'm going to be using the same color thread, and you can use the same color thread or you can use a contrasting thread. And I'm bringing my thread up to the surface right at the beginning of that first stitch. And now I'm just going to weave my needle underneath the stitch from top to bottom. And then I'm going to continue down the row, going through each stitch from top to bottom. And I'm not piercing the fabric. I'm not piercing the thread. I'm just going in between them. And I have this other wrapping thread or whipping thread that is just on the surface of the fabric. Now, if you have trouble with your needle getting stuck in that stitch, then put it eye first, and then the point of the needle won't get caught on anything. Then once I get to the end of the row, I'm just going to take the thread to the back. So there you can see that line, and it took a row that it wasn't bad, but it was a little bit wonky and uneven, and it smoothed it all out and made it consistent and nice. So if you're having trouble getting a smooth backstitch line and you're trying to use this in lettering or borders or whatever you're doing backstitch, then wrapping or whipping it is a great option that will cover a multitude of sins. Now, if you want a more detailed tutorial about how to do backstitch, then you can check out that video, and I have a lot of other tutorials for backstitch related stitches like stem stitch and overcast and chevron, and there's a whole bunch of backstitch variations. So you can find all those as well as courses, patterns, and other embroidery tutorials at my website, epidastudio.com.